I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, June 18th of 2024. First up on the agenda, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board? Okay. No messages. Next up is Title VI abatements. First, under Title VI abatements, we have abatement request at 535 South Walnut.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Rob Council. I'm a compliance officer in the hand department. I come to you today to ask for an abatement, a continuous abatement of 535 South Walnut to maintain their grass. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'd had some discussion yesterday during the work session about getting any kind of, response from the property owners. I know that there was going to be a little bit of follow-up. I'm guessing we have still not received any response from
We have not received any response from it. Like I was saying yesterday at the session, the contact information for that property owner is a little difficult to attain. It's an LLC out of New York City in an apartment building. We haven't had any contact returned to us.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
So in your opinion, the continuous abatement is necessary because of multiple violations?
That's correct. I've written multiple tickets to the property, have no contact back from the property owners. I don't think, honestly, they know that they own 541, which is the parcel that is being, it's all one big parcel, but the section that I'm referring to is 541 South Walnut Street.
And that's a different address than what's in the...
That's correct. It's all under 535 South Walnut. It's all Arby's property, same owner. 541 does not have an address with the city of Bloomington because it's a parcel.
Is it the parking lot?
No, it's an odd-shaped wedge, kind of where First Street intersection is, moving towards the Arby's parking lot.
Okay.
Does that mean that part of the property has been cared for?
Part of the property is in compliance. The other
Okay.
part of the property is not.
Okay. That makes sense to me. All right. Any other questions from the board?
No.
All right. We can take public comment at this time. We'll give 3 minutes for public comments.
Yes, my name is Roderick Page. I actually represent the company that owns Arby's. And the information that has been sent to New York, I'm not even sure who that is. I looked at the information on the papers. I can provide you all with an address. We're based out of Dallas. The New York has nothing to do with it. But also, we have tried to be in compliance. We didn't know that little strip was ours.
Okay.
Okay. So that's why part of it has been done and then part of it has been not. No one is ignoring notices. We haven't received them. All right. If it wasn't for a neighbor that lives by there to give me a call to alert me of what was going on, I tried to upload pictures of it being maintained, but I did it after 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So they weren't uploaded, but they were uploaded, but they said y'all don't look at them until a certain time. But anyway, the property has been mowed. There's no trash. We are actively trying to police the vagrants, but the city of Bloomington, from what I understand, will not do it for us. We have to actually be on site, and we don't have somebody there every single day trying to police that. But we've tried to be as compliant as we can. We've been issued some fines. I think they're unjust because we didn't receive the notices. And once I received it, tried to comply as quickly as we could.
Okay.
Kelly, do you mind if I ask a couple questions?
Sure, go right ahead.
So are you familiar with Crotona 1967 Corp?
No.
Okay, so the parcels in Elevate, the GIS system that indicates who owns the parcels, this is a company out of New York City.
Yeah. I'm
And that's what's in
the
the county GIS records as listing as the property owners?
Sure.
So you represent Arby's.
I represent Arby's, correct.
And Arby's does not own the property?
Right. We may lease it, but we are still maintaining
That makes
it.
sense.
So I think that's where this confusion
Sure.
comes from, because all of the property records and that we would utilize to reach out
I think
to.
we lease it from.
And is it
them.
still the Hughes Corporation with Arby's?
No.
No.
Hughes
So that's what we
sold-
were trying to
yeah,
figure out
Hughes
yesterday.
was sold to Turbo.
Okay. How about this? Why don't we get contact information, and we'll work to make sure we get this figured out in terms of everything in the GIS for the property is a company out of New York. That's where we would send the violations
Sure,
to. So
sure.
that's where and that's what we were talking about yesterday, was trying to figure out who were the local representatives. So
Sure.
we can get you with John and Rob, and usually in situations like this, even if you approve an abatement request, the property owner still has a period of time to come into compliance before we would actually go out and abate the property. So, right now, the fines aren't for Arby's. It's
Okay.
for the property owner itself.
Okay.
So that's kind of the differentiation here. Rob and Mr. Hewitt from Hand can get your contact information today, and hopefully we're able to then start working this out and get it figured out. But you say the property's in compliance now?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, I've
Okay.
got pictures and
Sure.
whatnot. I
hey-
was just by there this evening.
Yep, actually, John, would you take this podium for a second, just so we can get this on the record? Thank you. John, would you want the board to continue with an action tonight, or would you want to wait, do inspection, and then if we need to take action, come back at a subsequent meeting?
I think that, John Hewitt, City of Bloomington Hand Department. I think that it would probably be in everyone's best interest if we had a dialogue with a local representative of the person leasing the property, whom we haven't had contact with, and then if necessary, we can come back at a later date on this particular issue so that it makes sense to everyone.
Okay,
So
great. Thank
that's-
you.
That's my point of view at this point, anyhow.
Thank you for that. Did you have any other details you wanted to share?
Yeah, well, Joe Davis, who was the guy that actually alerted me, I think he wanted to say a few things as well.
Sure, yeah,
You
we
know.
can take a public comment. Go right ahead.
Hello, my name is Joseph B. Davis. I live adjacent to the property at 535 South South Walnut Street, otherwise known as Arby's, and I reside at 530 South Washington Street. My backyard lines up with the parking lot for the Arby's. I, as a witness, can verify that there is no garbage whatsoever on the property at this time, and that all of the vegetation is compliant. It is under the height of 8 inches. There are several problems with the process that Arby's has been in their notice of these violations. There wasn't fair notice. All it took for me to do was to call up the Ellettsville Arby's to speak with the area manager to find out who happened to be yesterday in Florida on vacation and put me in contact with Roderick. At any rate, I let both the area manager and Roderick know what the issues were, and Roderick immediately dispatched the mowing crew that has been maintaining the rest of the property and let them know that they missed this little peninsula known as 541 that goes along South Washington Street down to First Street. So also, the fine schedule wasn't followed. The fine schedule that is laid out in the Bloomington Municipal Ordinance under bear with me here, under 6.06.070 enforcement procedures, under C, schedule of fines, a first offense with a fine, at any rate, is supposed to be $50. So a warning was issued for the mowing, but then a $50 fine was issued, and then it jumped immediately to a $150 fine. Okay, so in the request for abatement, both a violation of Ordinance 6.06.050 for excessive growth was raised as a reason for abatement, i.e. having vegetation over 8 inches, and 6.06.020 garbage was raised, but only a warning was issued for garbage. It is unjust to request an abatement based on a warning for garbage, which did not even give an opportunity for that to be redressed. Well, it's taken care of. I'm a witness to that, but there are problems with this process that Hand is following when they're trying to prosecute alleged, violation of city ordinance.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other members of the public who would like to make comment? All right, thank you.
Adam, do we need a request for continuance or table or?
Thank you. We'll just actually not take any action on this. Not take any action, and Rob Counsel with Hand has spoken with the lessee of the property. They have exchanged the appropriate contact info if something else does arise. So at this point in time, I think we just ask that no action be taken.
Okay, then we would entertain a motion to table?
Yes.
Okay.
In that case, I will move that the board table abatement request at 535 South Walnut Street.
And I second that motion. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have abatement request at 3621 North Kinzer Pike.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Davis. I work at Housing and Neighborhood Development as a compliance officer. I'm requesting a one-time abatement at 3621 North Kinzer Pike. I began issuing notices of violation in February of 2024. I issued 5 total, the last one being the 6th of June. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Questions from the board on this item?
I believe we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but have you had any direct contact with the property owner?
Not with the property owner. I have had direct contact with the person living there, whom the property is in a trust. I believe she's related to the people that are connected with the trust.
And in those conversations, were there conversations about coming to compliance?
Yes, there were conversations about that. She's made she suggested that she was going to be getting a dumpster. I think that was might have been May 23rd, 2024. However, when I went back on the 6th, everything was still out there. I drove by this morning as well. Seems like things have been kind of collected into an area, but nothing was picked up.
Okay. And if the board were to approve the abatement tonight, would there be a lag time between the approval and when you might send a crew to do the abatement?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the amount of time that we're required to provide is, but I think it's something close to a week.
Okay. So there would be still a possibility for them to come into compliance?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any public comments on this item? Nothing on Zoom. Okay, seeing none. Is there a motion on this item?
I move that we approve the abatement request at 3621 North Kinzer Pike.
All right, nice second. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is petitions and remonstrances. If we have anyone who would like to make public comment on something not on our agenda this evening, now is the opportunity to do so. If you're on Zoom, you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to let us know. We will take 3 minutes of public comment per person.
Hello, my name is Joseph B. Davis. I am a resident at 530 South Washington Street. There are many problems with the issuance of notices of violation that are coming from hand. Number one, whenever there is a notice of violation, it says immediate compliance required. The Bloomington Municipal Ordinance itself states that there has to be an end period to any sort of compliance. What does immediate mean? Is immediate today? Is immediate 1 week? Is it 1 month? How can a person be immediately compliant, especially if they're not being presented with the facts or the evidence? So this statement, immediate compliance required, is a violation of the Indiana Constitution for fair process, for procedure. If there is any, according to BMO 1.01.060 purpose, the provisions of this code and all proceedings under it are to be construed with a view to affect its objects and to promote justice. How can it promote justice when there is no period to correct? There needs to be an end date and a period to correct. So simply having this statement, immediate compliance required, is enough of a violation of Indiana constitutional law that all of the notices of violation should be tossed out, because they all have this statement that doesn't include an end date for correction. So that's a big problem. Another is that hand will abuse their discretion and they will issue a fine. They're supposed to follow a fine schedule of warning, $50 fine first offense, $100 fine second offense, $150 fine for third and beyond offenses, and they don't do that. In an example of the Arby's abatement that was just defended here earlier tonight, there was a jump from the $50 fine all the way up to the $150 level. What happened to the intermediate level? And it says under 1.01.130 of the Bloomington Municipal Ordinance, under B, city may enter and bring a property into compliance providing the owner has had an appropriate amount of time to bring about compliance. These processes need to be improved because right now they are violating the civil rights of the citizens of this city of Bloomington. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other public comments on something not on the agenda this evening?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none. Next, we have the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes for June 4th, 2024. Resolution 2024-35, renew mobile vendor Rasta Pops. Resolution 2024-36, 2024 4th of July parade. Resolution 2024-38, 2024 WFHB Block Rocker. Resolution 2024-39, Second Baptist Church Friends and Family Day, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening?
Not for me.
Do we have any public comments on the consent agenda this evening?
There's nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda for the meeting on June 18th, 2024.
And I second. We have a motion and a second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next, we have new business. First, under new business, we have lighting plan for Hopewell West.
Hello, board members. My name is Kendall Kanoki, Engineering Department. So this first one is the approval of the lighting plan for the Hopewell West subdivision. The UDO Title 20 requires that the Board of Public Works review and approve lighting plans for subdivisions. So this lighting plan is for the Hopewell West subdivision, which is the former IU Health Bloomington Hospital site west of Rogers. The plan consists of some decorative and more parks-style lighting in what's known as the University Street Greenway. It's consistent with the University Street Greenway in Hopewell East, which is currently being constructed. This lighting will be maintained by the Parks Department. The rest of the lighting shown in the subdivision is Duke Energy lighting that is ultimately paid for by City Public Works, but it is maintained through a contract with Duke Energy, and this is kind of our standard procedure for all street lighting in the city. With that, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Questions on this item? Okay. Any public comments on this item? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the lighting plan for the Hopewell West subdivision.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is amendment number 1 to consultant contract with Crossroads Engineers, PC, for preliminary engineering services for the Hopewell West Jackson Street project.
Kendall Kanoki, Engineering Department again. So still on the same site, this is the phase 1 of the build-out of the Hopewell West subdivision infrastructure. This is to support the core building project, and this is related to our design contract with our consultant. In order to get the Hopewell West plat all the design completed for that, we needed to take the infrastructure plans from 30%, which is what we originally anticipated we would need the design level to be, to 60% to get everything designed to finalize the plat, so all of the utility infrastructure, which informs easements and detention design and all of those details. So this contract amendment includes that additional design work as well as some additional design for Rogers Street improvements. All of this design is being funded by a READY grant, which the city has already received, so the funds will be reimbursed by that grant. I am happy to answer any questions on this one.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
No.
Are there any public comments on this? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of amendment number 1 to the consultant contract with Crossroad Engineers, PC, for preliminary engineering services for the Hopewell West Jackson Street project.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next up is sidewalk, bike lane, and alley closure request from Strausser Construction on Grant Street.
Good evening, Kyle Ball from Engineering. Strausser Construction is requesting a 3-day total closure of the road, sidewalk, and bike lane adjacent to the 416 East Cottage Grove property as part of their Cottage Grove apartment project. Project's been ongoing for several months at this point. They are looking to wrap that up mid-August, as are all these projects. But they've been great to work with. We've been in good contact with them on all of their MOT. No issues have popped up so far, so staff recommends approval. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions on this item?
None for me.
Any public comments on this item? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of sidewalk, bike lane, and alley closure request from Strausser Construction on Grant Street.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is lane and sidewalk closure request from Merrill Brothers on North Walnut Street.
Hi, Kyle Ball, Engineering again. Merrill Brothers has been contracted with CBU rather, for a lane and sidewalk closure on North Walnut Street along the first and second ponds of the Miller Showers Parks. The planned area was reviewed today by myself and the members of the contracting team, along with a member of staff from CBU. During that working session, we were discussing, potential damages. I know that came up yesterday in the work session. So Tim from Tim Street from Parks has been well in the loop. The closure in this area is actually going to be a park-maintained closure, as it's a trail rather than a sidewalk. But there will be a part of that MOT, or temporary traffic control, that is at that 17th and Walnut intersection. So he did give his approval for that. The lane closure would be in place for actually 4 weeks was the updated time frame I got updated with today. So apologies for the late notice on those, but we will have a very solid traffic control plan in place there for that lane closure.
Can you just confirm for me the dates of the lane closure?
Yes, sorry. They are planning starting next Wednesday.
Okay, so it'll be like Wednesday, the 26th through July 26th?
Correct.
Is that what we can anticipate? Okay.
Yeah, understanding there's a holiday in there that's going to throw their schedule a bit. They're
Yeah.
from out of state, or sorry, up north, but they have crews all over the country. So we're happy with where things are going so far.
Okay. Other questions on this item? No. Okay. Any public comments on this item? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of lane and sidewalk closure request from Merrill Brothers on North Walnut Street.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is sidewalk closure request from Landmark Construction on East 14th Street.
Hi, that's Alex Gray from Engineering. So Landmark Construction was the contractor that had worked on the standard development that is now open on East 14th Street between Walnut and Dunn Street. Part of that work, we had done an inspection, and part of that inspection, we noted some curb ramps that were out of compliance, and we have requested that they replace them to bring them into compliance. And as part of that, they are requesting to have some sidewalk closures. There'll be different intersections as they're working on a curb ramp at a time. And I have a new start date. They had pushed it now, and they would request to start on July 8th, and it would last maybe a week or two.
Questions on this item? Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of sidewalk closure request from Landmark Construction on East 14th Street.
And I second. I'll call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is lane and sidewalk closure request from AEG.
Hi, it's Alex Gray from Engineering again. So this project is the citywide fiber project that is for installing high-speed internet across pretty well. I believe the figure is 95% of the city by the time that it's completed. And this part, they are requesting for 3 permit areas that is going to have a mix of what's known as aerial, which is where they attach to different utility poles, and then underground, which is for the boring machines and other disruptions that people notice. So these areas are going to be South Stoll Avenue, which is near Bryan Park on the south side, but north of East Hillside Drive, and then it would be West Avenue, contained by South Rogers, West 5th, South Lincoln, and West First. And then the final one is West Coolidge Drive, which is near RCA Park and Switchyard Park.
Okay, thank you. Questions on this item? Just to recap our discussion yesterday during the work session, it sounds like meetings are happening as they were intended between the project managers and the city, and there are some outstanding issues you're trying to wrap up for May, but as far as moving forward with these permits, it's in good order to be able to move ahead with these.
Yeah, we had another lengthy discussion this morning in our permit. We meet every week with engineering and public works on all things right-of-way permits, and had another lengthy discussion this morning. They've got something set for Thursday. They've been in good compliance since the last NOV. No major issues, really working closely with them on some communication strategies on some different things. We've had some recent issues of nice flower beds in the right-of-way and things like that we're going to try to work out to better communicate on and things like that. But over the last several weeks, no major issues that would prevent us from recommending approval here.
And we have staff that are going out regularly now that we have another folks. As you can tell, it was Kyle and I, but we also have a third now, and that helps a lot.
That's great. All right, any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of lane and sidewalk closure request from AEG.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next up is contract with Presidio Network Solutions, LLC, for installation of door access controls at Fire Station Number 1.
Good evening. Nick Spagnolo, City Facilities. This contract is for the installation of access controls at Fire Station 1, which is the fire station headquarters at 4th Street, and is part of the renovations that are happening in that location. It refers to the badge access system, which we use for the secure doors throughout the city. It is a sole source contract, which has been approved by the Controller's Office because Presidio is the vendor we have used for all these systems throughout city facilities. Staff recommends the approval of this contract with Presidio.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
None for me.
Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the contract with Presidio Network Solutions LLC for installation of door access controls at Fire Station Number 1.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have contract with True North Construction, Inc. for construction of parking and training facility at BPD Training Annex.
Nick Spagnolo, City Facilities. The Bloomington Police Department is in need of a secure outdoor location to store electric vehicles and other hazardous items that would not be safe to store inside a building. The design of the facility will also allow this area to be used for training, and that training opportunity will also extend to the fire department. It is a 30 by 40 feet concrete barricade walls on 3 sides with a concrete floor. The 4th side will open to allow the vehicles to be stored inside of it. It will not have a roof. The floor of the facility will have sockets for wooden posts used to hold simulated walls and doorways for training purposes. A 10-foot chain link fence surrounding the facility will be installed under a separate contract that will come before the board at a later date. 3 quotes were solicited for this project, and the lowest quote was selected. Staff recommends awarding this contract to True North Construction.
Thank you. Questions on this item?
Has this project received necessary site planning approvals from Planning and Transportation or the Plan Commission?
It is my understanding that they have.
They'll be working through any of those as needed, yes.
So the approvals haven't happened, is that correct?
I don't know that they're required here or anything, quite honestly. If they haven't happened, this will not be executed, but that's all.
I guess the only thing I'm worried about is if there are changes to the site based on UDO requirements,
I don't-
that it might change the
I don't think
contract.
this goes into that. This is an outdoor, I don't think that does. We'll double check that. The contract would not be executed if it didn't receive that.
Okay.
Any public comments on this item?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right, seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move approval of the contract with True North Construction Inc. for construction of parking and training facility at Bloomington Police Department Training Annex.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Thanks. Next up is staff reports and other business.
Just a couple real quick staff reports. We've had, Monday was National Sanitation Workers Day, so I want to thank all of our workers down at the all of our staff down at the Sanitation Division. Mayor Thompson, Deputy Mayor Gretchen Knapp made it down there, say thank you, and just appreciate and want to recognize their hard work. I think I've mentioned this plenty of times over the years in Board of Public Works meeting, but some of the hardest working folks in the city there. 4:30 a.m., day in, day out, Monday through Thursday, all weather conditions. So when that rain picked up at 6:30, 7 a.m. this morning, those crew members were out in the middle of that, continuing to do their work. And I just want to say thanks for that. It's humbling good work, and we really, really appreciate their hard work and efforts at that. Beyond that, it's summertime, so we've got a lot of projects going on, as is per typical around Bloomington, both city projects, utility projects, private construction projects, INDOT construction projects. Kicking off an alley improvement project in the downtown this week. That's between northbound Walnut, southbound Washington, Kirkwood, and 6th Streets. We'll be updating and doing maintenance activities in those alleys with concrete restoration, ramp work, asphalt work, something we've been really trying to chip away at throughout the downtown, getting those alley networks improved. So really excited to get those off the ground, get that project off the ground, and yeah, just really busy time in public works and across the city, and we're keeping after everything we're responsible for at this point. So thank you.
Thanks. Next up is approval of claims. Are there any questions on the claims? Any public comments on claims?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right. Do we have a motion on claims?
I move approval of the claims for June 18th, 2024 in the amount of $1,615,961.26.
And I second. I'll call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. And seeing that there is nothing else, I will call for adjournment.